Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime and I have another banger of a build for you. This is my run and gun off-meta SMG build. Off-meta, no Foxes sprayers, no Contractor's Gloves. Let's test something different, and it is a beast. This build has a 60% critical hit chance at TCAP and 258% critical hit damage. You can just shred through everything. As you can see in the background, me running Lincoln Memorial on heroic with 2 directives activated, and I still have a lot of fun. Just running around, running through people, shredding through people. It is a lot of fun to play around with. And again, don't forget, these are build templates, so build it towards your own preferred playstyle. You can copy and paste this build instantly and have a lot of fun, but if you want to change it up a little bit towards your own playstyle, definitely do so and let me know in the comments down below what you choose for, and in that way at the end of the video I'm gonna show you an alternative of this build as well. But enough intro, enough gameplay, let's dive right into the build and let me show you what we've been cooking up. And this is the build that you just saw in the gameplay. Here it is, the full breakdown, starting with our specialization. We are using the gunner specialization. Why? For that third reload is 50% faster, and we're gaining 10% armor on kill. That will give us some survivability in combination, of course, with our skills. And you could even use the hand grenade as well. Let's jump over to the guns that I was using, or at least better said, the gun that I was using, and that is the Dark Winner. I have it on SMG damage, critical hit chance, all maxed out, and then damage your target out of cover, and this comes with the talent Perfect Killer. Killing an enemy with the critical hit grants you 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. We are up to the max of 60% critical hit chance, boosting it all the way up to that 255 critical hit damage. In combination with this gun, does so much, and that's why we're shredding through enemies. I have everything as the mods on critical hit damage, and then of course an extra 20 rounds and minus the 10% reload speed. Secondary gun and the pistol, you can go for whatever you like. I just went for the Lady Death, but you can again choose whatever you want. And then jumping over to the rest of the build, we're going for the mask. Why are we choosing the Coyote's mask? Because we're almost always in between at 0 to 15 meters. This already gives us everything that we want: critical hit chance, critical hit damage mod on there, and because of that talent it gives us 25% critical hit damage, because we're almost always hitting people within 0 to 15 meters. So this is a little bit better than a secondary Sokolov that will give us a flat 15% critical hit damage. Yes, you will always have that, but this is 25% critical hit damage. This is why this is a little bit better for doing your damage output. And then jumping over to my Sokolov chest, this is of course because we are gaining an extra 10% SMG damage. Again, critical hit chance, critical hit damage mod on there, and we chose to go for Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 25 times, so we're gaining an extra 25% of weapon damage, and this is easily proc with that Dark Winner shooting at 1200 RPM and doing insane amount of damage. You can get this Obliterate stacked pretty fast. And then let's get over to my backpack. That's the Grupo Sombra, 15% critical hit damage. That's why we chose for it. Again, full reds, critical hit chance, critical hit damage on there, and a critical hit damage mod, and we chose to go for Vigilance. Increase your total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds, so whenever you take damage you will lose this 25%. So a lot of people will probably say, yeah, I'll go for something else because Vigilance is not worth it, but it is worth it. You want that burst damage. You just want to beam them down with 1 ammo clip, and that's why Vigilance is a lot better. And then of course make sure that you don't get hit that much. We're running around with a red build. This is a run and gun build, but for Vigilance you wanna be in cover sometimes, or just make sure that you keep something in between you and your enemy. And then for the beautiful thing about this build and why we built this build and why this is the Electrique SMG build is because we're using the new Electrique brand set. And we boosted it up all the way to full reds. As you can see, weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. I did the same for my holster, weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. And because we're already at the cap of critical hit chance, and I couldn't really found it with headshot damage, we went for weapon handling. So in a perfect world, you want to go for some headshot damage to do a little bit more damage, but weapon handling is pretty nice as well. So why did we choose for Electrique? It's a new brand set in the game, so I wanted to test out a few things. And if you are a subscriber and you know me a little bit, I like to shoot my cam launcher or my foam launcher, and this already gives us for the first brand set piece 10% status effect. Then we're gaining 20% shock resistance, not really doing it for that, but again then we're activating another 10% SMG damage. In the combination of everything running with this build, we're boosting up our SMG damage quite a lot. Don't get me wrong, if you go for a second piece of Sokolov, if you go for the Fox's Prayers and the Contractor's Gloves, you will hit harder. I'm not saying this is the best SMG build out there, but it's a fun run and gun build with a little bit of different things. You can call it an off-meta SMG build. But I wanted to test out if that Electrique was worth it, and yes, it's kind of fun to play around with. The only problem I foresee is that this comes with a yellow core, so there is a little bit of a grind for this gear. You need to find a critical hit chance and critical hit damage on the attributes to roll that core yellow away, so that's why it might take a little bit longer to farm this build together, but it's something different. And as you saw in the gameplay, it was a lot of fun. You can shred through enemies, and I'm doing heroic Lincoln with 2 directives. But yeah, this is pretty much the overview of the whole build, and of course let's get over to our skills. And I'm using the Riot Foam, gaining a little bit extra in share duration because we have that extra 10% status effect from the Electrique brand set. And overall I went for a share duration and an extra ammo for the mods. And then the second one is of course the Reviver Hive. This gives me an extra alive, 10% Reviver armor repair, 5% range and 10% health as the mods. So now I showed you my build and the skills. Let's jump over to the stats real quick, and that is all about our critical hit chance, 60% maxed out, and 183% critical hit damage. But Prime, it's higher, right? It's definitely higher, because our mask gives us a boost of 25% critical hit damage, and our gun gives us a boost of 50% critical hit damage, gaining an extra 75% critical hit damage, boosting this up to 258% critical hit damage. And that's why we can just shred through everything while not using the best in slot pieces, just shredding through with the new Electrique brand set. So now that we went over every single thing of the build, let's go over to a little bit of alternatives, because I already see people saying you are too squishy, you cannot run around with vigilance, it is losing damage. Okay, so let me show you a different build then. If you don't want to go for that, then the only thing you have to do is switch our Coyote's mask for another Sokolov. Switch it to that. We're gaining that extra 15% critical hit damage. Of course, make sure that you then switch off the mods as well, and then go for the Memento backpack. The Memento backpack is a fan favorite. It is a great backpack, definitely, but you're gonna lose a little bit of damage. Make sure that you then, of course, get all the critical hit damage mods off, and not the wrong ones like I'm doing right now. Just put them on. Let's see, this is good. And then this would be your build. You have a little bit more survivability for that extra armor core. You have an extra yellow core, so that gives you a little bit more survivability as well throughout the chem launcher, because we're gaining an extra ammo. Then over to the Sokolov, gaining an extra 15% critical hit damage. So if we're looking to the stats right now, that will be that 55% critical hit chance and 171% critical hit damage. Again, we're of course gaining that extra 50% critical hit damage from our Dark Winner, so this boosts it up to 231% critical hit damage. So we're losing a little bit critical hit damage, we're losing a little bit critical hit chance, and then of course we're losing the damage output of that vigilance. We're gaining that back if you're getting all the trophies out. So if you get hit with the memento, you will not lose that weapon damage, but still, it's a little bit lower on the damage output, but this could be a different way to build as well if you want to go towards that Grupo, or if you want to go towards the double Sokolov. You can do both. You can go for Grupo, you can go for Sokolov. They both give you 15% critical hit damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this build video today, introducing the Electrique brand set to a full red build. And it's kind of fun to play around with, and of course does a lot of damage as well. An off-meta SMG build, while we incorporate the Electrique brand set. But that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. If you're still here, you are a freaking legend. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. For that support, helps me out tremendously. Of course, like the video if you liked the video, or if you learned something new. And if you want to learn something new and a little bit more about the Division 2 and the Division universe, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I will have a lot more content for you in the future. But that's it. I will see you in the next one. PurePrime out.